This is Jeff Cobb. You're listening to WPOV Global.
Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Wrestling WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, my ever popular, ever shiny, freshly showered gentleman himself, Elio Canal. Elio?
Yes, sir.
You're smelling like hibiscus and lavender. What's going on, brother?
I'm all right.
Well, that was probably a disturbing image to send out to most of our fans, but hey, welcome to another edition of WPOV Global. Man, there's been a lot of things going on this week in professional wrestling. First of all, though, Elio, how have you been doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Yeah? Good. That's good to hear. You had a good solid week?
I had a great solid week, yep.
Nice. It's been a crazy week. There's been lots of things going on. We got a lot of news to get into, but before we get started, let's get into our poll of our week, okay?
Okay.
Last week, me and Elio's hot topic centered around AEW, and the question was, and we debated this for a while, and we did come to pretty much the same conclusion at the end. The debate was, should AEW have an on-air authority figure? You know, someone like Mick Foley used to be, or even far back as like Jack Tunney used to be, or even in a scarier mode, somebody like Stephanie McMahon. Did they need somebody coming out and making matches and moving the show along, and somebody who you really didn't get involved with? We debated it. We came to the conclusion in the end, though, that we didn't want that. You know, we didn't want that. We thought the day of the on-air authority is an overplayed. WWE's beaten that camel to death so many times. I don't think it's going to get up a hump or two. So we threw it out there to you fans. We were curious what you guys thought. And after we took a look at the polls, they closed down to yesterday, we found that 63% of you said no. We don't need an on-air personality, or, well, an on-air authority figure anyways. So I guess, that is a concept that's been pretty much overplayed to death. And you, the fans, don't want to see that. And, I guess we agree wholeheartedly after we discussed it. But I'm going to take a look. I knew there were a couple comments, people voicing their opinion about this whole thing. Here we go. First comment I have is Adam Brunton, who said, they need a Jack Tunney type. Yes, I'm that old. This person shows up only occasionally when a decision needs to be made. Now, for you younger fans, what he's talking about is back in the old days of WWF, there used to be a commissioner who was just a character. He wasn't really a commissioner. His name was Jack Tunney, and he never really got involved in any kind of on-air things. He was just the voice who his face would pop up and tell you so-and-so was going to have a title match or blah, 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 to kind of move things along. However, that kind of character has not been seen at least since the mid-'80s.
The one scene that comes to mind is Benny Brown being the only one to bring Jack Tunney to his knees when he was feuding with Savage over the WWF Championship.
One of the rare times we got to see more of Jack Tunney than I think from his office. But yeah, I believe there's another comment. You want to read the second comment?
Okay, so the second comment says, from Alexander Nettles, says, they just need a real booker behind the scenes. That's not what we were asking. You didn't answer the question.
Well, you know what, Alexander? I'm going to agree with you on that, but Elio makes a good point. He just simply asked a question here. Folks, we'd love to hear your comments and stuff. Please write them into the site, but not on the polls. Come on, man. The question was pretty simple. Do we need an on-air authority figure or not? I have no idea, Alexander, if that means yes or no. So you kind of blew the one chance you had to say something on this topic anyways. All right. Well, let's move on now to some of the news. We find ourselves this week with a whole bunch of news, and actually some very sad news this week. And we'd like to talk around a couple passings. Okay. A couple people passing away. First of all, a couple weeks ago, at least a month, maybe a month and a half or so, we reported the injury to Mexico's La Parca. Okay. Now I was almost going to say LA Park because I'm used to LA Park and MLW.
Yeah.
Fans who recognize the name La Parka, you might think back to the WCW days of the chairman of the board who would come out La Parka. That is not the same La Parka who passed away. That La Parka found himself in a situation very much like Sin Cara was in the WWE, where a company actually owned the name and likeness of the La Parka character. So when the original wrestler, who was La Parka, decided to leave to other places, the company kept his name and his costume, and they hired someone else. That wrestler who you knew as La Parka has now, you can see him sometimes in MLW in North America as LA Park, or as the gentleman, and Mance Warner like to call him, is Los Angeles Park. But the other La Parka, this one was a newer wrestler hired to wrestle under that mask, took a horrific head injury kind of a while ago now, to the point where we haven't really talked about him in a while, and kind of, unfortunately, with so much going on, we kind of forgot about it, but passing away this weekend from his injuries, and very sad situation. All of us at Global and WPOV would like to send out our condolences to friends and family of La Parka, and it's a sad day. Moving on, in other sad news, the passing of a retired wrestler. In some ways, may not have been the biggest legendary name, but a man who really made a difference and whose fingerprints can be seen all over New Japan wrestling. We're talking about Kendo Nagasaki. All right. Kendo, who had probably his heydays in the mid 80s to late 80s, wrestled quite a bit. North American fans would recognize him in world-class wrestling, where teamed up with Gary Hart's stable and causing all kinds of fits for the Von Erichs. Now, I may be wrong here, Elio, but I do believe he's one of the first originators of the green or red mist thing. You know, the kind of thing where a Japanese wrestler spits out some kind of mist in someone's face and blinds them. I believe he was one of the first guys to do that, if not the first guy to do that. So I'd be really interested to know. I'm going to probably have to go look that up more so now.
I might be wrong on this, but did the Missing Link used to do that as well?
I don't think the Missing Link did the green thing, did he? I don't think. Yes, I know he painted his face green, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right, okay.
So yeah, a lot. He was a wrestler who would come out dressed in the kabuki style. For those of you wondering, he looked like the old style samurai dress with his hair back in a top knot and his face painted in a very garish, colorful stylings. Yep. That kind of pageantry can sometimes still be seen today in Japanese wrestling. He was kind of an innovator of that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So once again, WPOV would like to send out our condolences to friends and family of Kendo Nagasaki. A very sad day for wrestling fans. I'd also be remiss, Elio, if I didn't mention, us being both Canadian boys, the passing of one of rock's legendary drummers and songwriters and lyricists. That'd be Neil Peart of Rush, who passed away this weekend of brain cancer, unfortunately, which was also a shock to me. I mean, he actually appeared here in my hometown 3 years ago on their tour, and then just kind of quietly, nobody knew much going on. Everyone thinking, oh, they must be getting ready to tour again. But he had been suffering from brain cancer. Incredible drummer, incredible lyricist, wrote all of Rush's songs and lyrics. You know, I've always talked to people about how I wasn't a big Rush fan when I was younger, but as I grew older and appreciated complex and good music, that Rush was just one of those great bands that I had to just marvel at. And Peart was one of these drummers who definitely, in my mind, was one of the top two drummers of all time, right up there with John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. So a very sad day in music, in Canadiana, and any kind of thing you want. The passing of Neil Peart, another sad thing. And once again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but Wrestling POV, we'd like to all send out our condolences to friends and family of Neil Peart. Let's move on to some news. And hopefully the news is a little more cheerful than so much passing. I guess one thing we should talk about, I know we don't usually cover NXT or WWE signings unless they're UK, but I did want to mention Mercedes Martinez being signed to NXT. Mm-hmm. Here's a wrestler I followed for many years in Shimmer and Shine and all across the US and in the indie scene. She's getting close to her 40s and finally signed. I feel it's like 5 or 6 years later than it should have been. Tremendous talent. Maybe she'll just ease into being a trainer type, but tremendous wrestler. I hope we get to see her at least compete a little bit in NXT. Great wrestler. Congratulations to Mercedes. Moving along, I guess I forgot to bring this one up when we were doing some of our pre-notes. AEW actually re-signed with TNT Network for another year. The show is not going away. It looks like me and you are trapped watching half-assed, sometimes shitty wrestling for another year.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Fun times ahead.
Oh, let's hope somebody does hire a booker. I hear Alexander Nettles needs a job. Anyhow, moving on with other news. Let's take a look at another signing. Killer Cross. Oh man, finally getting out of Impact Purgatory. Looks like he's going to be debuting pretty soon for MLW, which will be very exciting.
But is he strictly MLW or?
No. He hasn't signed an exclusive yet.
Okay, so he can pretty much show up anywhere.
That is true.
Because I think they were also saying, I thought I also saw somebody when WWE was also looking at him.
They were, but nothing was signed. Obviously, he wouldn't be wrestling for MLW if WWE or NXT had picked him up. Also, the departure of MJF from MLW, a bit of a surprise. Well, I don't know if it was a surprise. It seemed weird that he was on 2 major shows.
Yeah, well, that also plays into our coverage of MLW this week.
Yes, it does. It does indeed. So MJF off. He's going to be wrestling I don't know if it's exclusively, but close to exclusively for AEW. So, good luck to him, and we'll be seeing him a lot more. The next bit of news is going to lead into our hot topic this week. In some ways, this is great, but the hot topic part makes me a little bit leery about this whole situation.
Yeah.
And that is Tessa Blanchard
capturing
the world title from Sami Callihan in Impact Wrestling. On one hand, this is a great thing for women wrestlers, showing that they can run with the boys. I mean, let's face it, Sami Callihan's a big, mean boy. However, this is what we're going to talk about. The day before said pay-per-view where she won the belt, she went to Twitter and tweeted out something that said, "Hey, women, try supporting one another. Cool things happen." Almost trying to say, I read that and I think she's saying, okay, quit being bitches to me. I have a chance to be a champ here. However, Allison Kay, the NWA Women's Champion, tweeted back.
Sienna from Impact Wrestling.
Yes, who at one time was in Impact Wrestling. Said, "Remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her the N-word in Japan? Is that what supporting women?" She goes, "The audacity of this." And then Tessa responded with, "Not true. That's my statement, and the most tension I'll give it because of how ridiculous it is." How then Chelsea Green, and I got to say, I've met Chelsea Green, and I interviewed her once. A very nice lady, really, she was a very sweet person. She put down, "You've constantly put down, bullied, and belittled countless female workers, including me. Is that support?" Ooh, yeah, this even gets better now. Tessa Blanchard replies with, "I've never been anything but kind to you. I've dealt with mean girls since I started. Not saying I'm a saint. Hell, I've had my ups and downs, and I've made silly decisions. Such is life. You have zero merit in your comments. Instead of putting me down here for a little clout, you got my number." Then La Rosa Negra, who was the woman who was slapped in the face and called the N-word, apparently, according to her, in Japan, she sent out a tweet about it, but then deleted it. But the tweet had said something along the lines as, I was afraid to ever say anything, and this did happen, and it was to me. Then she deleted it, okay? Isla Dawn from NXT UK put up, "As someone who experienced your bullying firsthand, received regular verbal abuse, was spat on, had rumors spread about me, dealt with multiple attempts by you to blacklist me from other companies, plus more, I just pray you now follow your own advice." Yikes. And then Priscilla Kelly from MLW said, "Remember putting me down on Twitter last year for something that didn't involve you whatsoever, then continuing to drag my name to other people?"
Yep, I remember that. I know the incident she's speaking of, too.
Yeah. Pepperidge Farm remembers, "You probably should delete this tweet, Blanchard." So, So here's a whole bag of worms, okay? Sorry, I should say
goodness.
can of worms. This is a very big can of worms that just got opened up here. Now we have two things to look at. Number one, we have the whole, did Tessa Blanchard publicly humiliate a black woman by spitting in her face and calling her the N-word, which is a very racist thing and something very unforgivable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, which I'm reading here, very many accounts of women felt like they were bullied and terrorized by Tessa Blanchard.
Wow.
So let's start off first of all with the bigger elephant in the room, and that's the whole racism charge. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, oh man, in this day and age, we have found that there are certain things that just don't fly, and racism is definitely becoming a hot topic of things you should not get yourself involved in, things you should not say.
Mm-hmm.
Tessa Blanchard has any right to her own opinion. Okay. Many of our American friends talk about the freedom of speech. You have the right to do blah, blah, blah. But however, what they don't notice or forget to fail sometimes is your freedom of speech ends where it impacts someone else's life. I can have the opinion of whatever kind of ridiculous hate I may have. And it's just an example here, say, of Elio. Suppose I hated Elio.
Oh, no.
Suppose I want to say horrible things about Elio. I have the right to think whatever I want. I have the right in my own home to say whatever I want. I do not have the right to publicly say horrible and racist things about Elio. And here's where a problem is. This is the kind of stuff that gets people removed from television shows. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of things that destroys careers. I can think of, say, Paula Deen on the Food Network when she admitted to using the N-word many times.
Oh, okay.
She has never had a Food Network show since. Her career pretty much killed off about that. Hulk Hogan, look at the problems he had when it came out that he used the N-word quite a bit and that he came across as quite a big racist at a certain point of his life. And even though he apologized.
Don Cherry.
Well, yeah, you can be interpreted that too. And here's the thing. If it's interpreted as such, that's a career-killing move.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem here, folks, is yes, there are people who have said this. And yes, a girl came forward and said it was her. However, she deleted her tweet and has gone quiet now about this.
See, that's where I'm not. That's where I get lost because they tweet out that this is they're the person this happened to, but then they go and delete the tweet afterwards.
So why did they delete their tweets? We don't know.
There's like two sides to every story. So.
Right. I mean, on one hand, maybe the tweet was deleted because it didn't happen. She hated Tessa Blanchard, felt bullied by her, and kind of got caught up in the wave of saying stuff. Or maybe it did happen and maybe she was paid off. I mean, certainly if I was tweeting something and about complaining about something and somebody said, hey, here's a whack of money if you just shut up, I would take down my tweets if I needed the money. So we don't know.
I don't know. I just think Twitter is just such a bad place for like any wrestler to like just go on because it just causes a whole bunch of trouble.
It really does.
Problems.
It really does. So in the first part of this topic here, Elio, if it's proven that she did this in Stardom in Japan a couple years ago, what do you think should happen to Tessa Blanchard? If this all came out that this is true.
It's hard to say. Like I said, there are like two sides to every story. But if it was true, well, they already put the championship on her. So I'm wondering if Impact already knew about this ahead of time because they went ahead with putting the championship on her. Anyways, the day after all these accusations came out.
True, but Elio, suppose somebody proves it. Suppose it's proven. Suppose somebody shows up with a videotape or some kind of thing that shows this happens. Going forward, what do you personally think should happen to Tessa Blanchard? Should there be any ramifications? Should something happen? Should not? What do you feel? I'll tell you how I feel, but tell me how you feel first.
Okay. It happened like a long time ago. I guess people change. So if she apologized for anything and like everything got sorted out, I don't think I'd say no. They shouldn't bring any like consequences.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that if it was proven 100% to me that this was true, I think you have to pay for the things you do in certain things. And I think to categorically put someone down because of their race, their color, their religious expression, their sexual orientation in this day and age is unforgivable. And I think, first of all, she's backpedaled and said none of this is true. So if it is said to be true, first of all, I want her to apologize. I want her to apologize publicly and apologize publicly to La Rosa Negra if that's...
And don't just say, oh, we sorted it out by tweeting it out. Because that's what it said. There was a tweet that said they sorted everything out. They forgave each other.
Yeah. I do not believe... I believe she should be stripped of the World Championship. I believe that there should be a woman to win the World Championship, but if this is true, I don't think she's the woman.
Give it back to Sami Callihan and let someone else beat him for it.
Yeah. If the whole point of this is to show that a woman could be a great wrestler and run with a man, and to show that they are equal and stuff, then show us a better woman. Show us someone who deserves that. And I don't think a racist deserves that. Now, I'm not saying right now take it away from Tessa Blanchard. I'm saying if this was proven, I believe she should be stripped of her title. I believe that she should not be booked for a while. I think she should go away for a little while and maybe learn to get her head and priorities straight if she wants to continue to compete in a world that's full of other black athletes and other women and other whatever kind of disgusting racist things that she wants to think about, if that's true, if she is a racist. Okay, that's what I believe should happen. If this is all just rumors and conjectures, well, obviously she should be cleared and this should be, straightened out. Okay, now the next question, however, this one is a little harder. This one I don't think can be denied, because there seems to be a lot of wrestlers saying that she used her backstage clout to bully a lot of people. And we're finding in this day and age, that's another thing that's unacceptable.
Yeah, bullying. No, I know. I was in school. I know I was bullied in school, so yeah, not cool.
Not cool, eh? No. When you don't want to go to school, when you don't want to go to work, when you don't want to go to a certain place because you were the target.
I mean, mine wasn't bad, but still, still
bullying is bullying.
Yeah, it's still bullying.
Somebody saying something and making you feel uncomfortable about being a place where you deserve to be, that's not cool. Now, this one really troubles me a bit. Just for the fact, as you know, I've been very associated with a lot of wrestling companies, and I've had my ear to the ground with a lot of rumblings and backstage things a lot. One of the questions that I always had was why was Tessa Blanchard not signed years ago? I mean, she's made an impact for quite a while, and I don't mean impact as in the wrestling.
Right.
She's made a name for herself as a very solid contender. However, I had heard up until even, not too long ago that the WWE wasn't interested in her because she had a lot of excessive baggage, including the fact that she didn't conduct herself very well backstage. Nothing was ever pointed out in black and white or said exactly what that meant, but rumors of it had been that she was extremely hard to deal with, that she was demanding, a bit of a bully type. So when I read these things from other wrestlers, and especially having met Chelsea Green, and she was up in our territory for a little while and up here in Western Canada for a couple of years, I got to know her a bit. And when you know somebody who makes an accusation like that, and you know them enough to believe them, it's a bit troublesome. I don't like the idea that Chelsea Green was treated like that. I don't like the idea that any of these girls, Isla Dawn, me and you've talked about Isla Dawn many times about her, about her almost breaking out, something about her that's special. I don't like the thought that she had to go through that. I don't like the thought that anybody has to be bullied by anybody. I too grew up in a small town in northern Canada, and I know what bullying's like. I know that I've been bullied. I'm sure I've been a bully sometimes back to people who maybe in my mind I thought deserved it, but that's still wrong.
Yeah.
The fact that anybody is made to feel uncomfortable because of somebody else's negative feelings towards them, that's not, in this day and age, that is unacceptable.
Mhm.
So if it's found that she's a bully, well, maybe you can't strip the title from her, but maybe she ain't going to have a very long title reign. And maybe she's not the kind of person who should be representing your company.
They'll probably just have her pretty much jobbing to others.
I think that Tessa Blanchard may have to learn some kind of a lesson. Now, fans, we're not sure how we're going to word this up, but the whole gist of our poll next week will be about this topic. And the topic will be right now how you feel about Tessa Blanchard. Do you feel that Tessa Blanchard has been misrepresented and maybe misquoted or made a victim here by others? Or do you feel that Tessa Blanchard is actually a victimizer and deserves to have some kind of punitive things put against her? We'll figure out the exact wordings for that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear that me and Elio feel, you know what, Elio, how do you feel right now about this? Like, just from what you know, do you think this is just rumors that have gotten out of hand, or do you think that there's some merit here? How do you feel? And be free. Just tell me how you feel about this right now.
From what I know, or from what I've read, accusations, tweets. On one hand, I don't know if they're true. On the other hand, seeing who these accusations were from, it's hard not to actually believe, because we've heard so much about backstage incidents like this.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I kind of feel that people say when there's smoke, there's fire, but we're not talking just like there's a little bit of smoke here. There is a blazing tunnels of smoke going on from multiple places. So I've got to wonder how this might be actually a true story. And it makes me look at Tessa Blanchard in a not a very good light.
Yeah, now whenever I see her on in any news posts or whatever, it's I'm not seeing the same person that I was seeing before.
Exactly. And then, like we said, it's not like we're throwing her under the bus under one accusation. There's a mountain of accusations here, and from people that I personally even know. So that makes it harder for me to not weigh in and not wonder the worst about this. So there it is, folks. That's our hot topic this week. It's a tough can of worms. Racism, bullying. This is stuff that we shouldn't even be talking about in wrestling. I mean, wrestling is supposed to be escape.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good guy versus bad guy. Maybe somebody gets bullied, but then he rises up and he, not like continuous backstage stepping on people's necks to get ahead kind of crap. Not cool. Not cool. Makes me feel yuck. Yuck. I almost want to go take a shower after this. This is you know what? Let's go over to something that was let's change gears here. And one thing I guess we should have mentioned, and I was going to mention it this week because of a very quick thing about New Japan Wrestling. We didn't cover New Year's Dash because we had so much to cover from Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
But one of the biggest focuses I think that we should mention now, and it's been very big across the indie wrestling world, was the retirement of Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yep.
What a pioneer in the mid-heavyweight division who, man, the amounts of outpouring of love from other wrestlers, incredible. I've seen so many wrestlers posting pictures and things with them in Liger, and the stories about Liger I have not heard one negative thing about this good dude.
The first match I ever saw was WCW against Brian Pillman. I think it was at one of the pay-per-views in 92.
Yes. I mean, what an incredible wrestler, and what an impact he really has made. And damn you, Impact Wrestling, for taking away the word impact for us to use during wrestling talk. Because now people think of that shitty company. But he actually made a very good impact. And a sad day in wrestling. Lots of sad this month, man.
I know what's going on. This is 2020. A new decade is supposed to be happy.
Well, you know what? You want to know what made me happy this week?
What's that?
I wasn't sure what to think of WWE NXT UK TakeOver, and I'm going to say Blackpool, not Cardiff.
Yep.
Blackpool 2. Damn, that was a pretty solid, good show.
That was.
Let's talk about that show, man. Let's
Right.
skip the stuff, and we'll talk about the things now. We went along and we tried. We had a bad night of picking things. Yeah, we did. We did. First of all, let's talk about this about the Blackpool show. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Now, I believe when I said Trent Seven and Eddie Dennis, I said, "Who cares?"
Who cares? You didn't pick a winner. I went and picked I picked the guy who actually won the match.
Yeah,
but you know what? I have to say, I was sitting there watching the match. I'm like, you know what? Tom was right. Who cares?
Yeah, I didn't understand the point of this match. I mean, sure, Eddie Dennis won, but it's not like he showed me something spectacular.
You know how memorable he was at the first takeover. I actually called him Eddie Kingston instead of Eddie Dennis.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I mean,
that's when Dave Best beat him at the first takeover.
Yeah, and Trent Seven. I mean, it just bothers me that there could have been so many other guys that weren't like. Where was Dave Mastiff? I'd rather watch him. Hell, wouldn't give us Wild Boar and Primate in that slot.
They should have given us Cassius Ohno and Dave Mastiff in that slot.
Yeah, or hey, War was Dragunov. I'd love to see Dragunov way more than I'd love to see these two other idiots.
I mean, if you're gonna open up a pay-per-view, why would you open it with that match? I mean, the UK crowd, that crowd was hot, but this wasn't the best way to start the pay-per-view.
No, I gotta agree, man. I was very confused, and I gotta admit, watching that match, I was kind of like, "Oh God, is this gonna be like is this the tone that it's setting for the rest?" I'm not going to be too happy about this. However, the next match changed all of that.
Mm-hmm.
A three-way matches tend to be kind of dog shit.
Yeah.
This was a very good three-way match.
I enjoyed this one. Yep.
Now, I think I picked Piper Niven, and I think you might have picked Tony Storm, or did you pick
I picked Piper Niven as well.
We both were rough. I think out of the three of them, both of us did not think Kaylee Ray was actually going to walk out with the championship.
I was surprised when she had the 3 count and the ref they announced her as a winner.
The things I got out of this match is definitely Tony Storm, definitely headed down the evil road. She is really looking more and more like a heel. Mm-hmm. Piper Niven finally showing a bit of fire. I don't like her.
She said dive she did through the ropes.
Yes. Wow. That was a lot of girl coming at you.
Yep.
Kaylee Ray showed me a little bit something more than usual. I haven't always been hot on Kaylee Ray, but she did pretty good in this match. She had a good presence. And it's not like she didn't play the Jerry Lawler hiding underneath the ring at the end of Royal Rumble crap. She got in there and she got her spots. Yep. And like the good heel, like the heel champion, she took advantage of the end and got the pin.
Yep.
She let Tony Storm do the work and she took the pin. So, good on her. Very good match though. Next a match. Wow. Okay. Sometimes it seems like, I got to say, NXT is really starting to change me and your opinions of certain people. We used to not like Dave Mastiff. We used to not like Joe Coffey. We used to not like Gallus. We used to not like Primate and Wild Boar. Now, me and you have for a long time not liked Jordan Devlin, but I think that's got to kind of change because Jordan Devlin, man, him and Tyler Bate put on one heck of a great match.
Oh, can I say something about the UK crowd? They have ruined White Stripes and Casey and the Sunshine Band for me with their chants.
You know what's really funny about that, dude? I remember you saying that to me, right? Now, I've watched these events, and it's sort of funny because they start chanting, but the funny part is I don't listen to the chants. I just hear it as a chant going on in the background and say, oh, this is kind of a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, but I actually pick up on it.
I don't. I just block it out. I just block it out. I figure it's going to be some weird, crappy English song I never heard of, or something I don't want ruined.
It's actually good songs that have been ruined.
Okay, I'll take your word for it, but I tend to block out the chanting parts.
Okay.
Jordan Devlin. Nigel McGuinness made a good point here when he said, he talks, Jordan Devlin talks a bad game and he says a lot of crappy things and he makes things that you may not like him, but then he'll go out and wrestle and do stuff that you just can't help respect him.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much happened to the show. I mean, did you notice that when Tyler Bate came out, it was like an explosion. Like the people were going crazy. I mean, Devlin came out, nobody was that invested either way. Tyler Bate comes out, the place just boom. But then halfway through the match, people start chanting for Jordan Devlin. You know, he starts dividing the crowd just out of his pure work. He's not pandering to the crowd. He's not trying to get their attention or their love, but he's starting to win them with his hard work.
Now I'm gonna say I wonder. Now I might be wrong. I know I'm gonna be wrong, but I don't think Tyler Bate could ever be a heel.
You don't think he could be a heel?
No, I mean, do you think he turned heel down the road, seeing how people started getting behind Devlin?
Oh, over this? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think this would be the. I could see. I thought maybe you were saying you could never see Tyler Bate as a villain. By all means.
No, I can see him as a heel. I'm just saying. Do you think?
No. Although you know what though, that would be pretty interesting. I mean, NXT tends to have some really good long-term booking like that.
I mean, they have done some like interesting turns.
Yeah, who knows, man? I never even thought of that, dude. Good call. Okay, moving on is the next match. Wow, the ladder match with the 4 teams. We had Gallus, we had Imperium, we had what is Mandrew's team called? There's something stupid.
South Wales Subculture.
Yeah, South Wales Subculture.
No.
What is that? Yeah, okay. And who's the last team? Oh, the Grizzled Young Veterans.
Yep.
Who I actually enjoyed for once in this match. They actually put in a pretty good. Actually, all 4 teams, even the Subculture team, man, they did some pretty crazy spots in there.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you guessed wrong. We thought Imperium was going to be an Imperium sweep.
Yeah, we both said this is not going to be a Gallus night.
I got to give Gallus credit, especially Wolfgang. That guy took a beating and still managed to come back quite a bit. Tough dude. Mm-hmm. How much did you like this match?
I think this one should be nominated for the vault.
Yeah, I know you were saying that ahead of time, and I agree. I say we nominate this match, the 4-way match with Gallus retaining their titles in a 4-way ladder match. It'll be into the vault this year.
All right.
Now we get to the main event, and I know we both were leaning towards thinking that Walter was going to win this. It was curious to see how Joe Coffey was going to do. Joe Coffey was pretty good here, man. He was very good. He made Walter look like Walter was struggling to stay on his game. You know, he attacked Walter in ways we don't see people attack Walter. He punched Walter in the face and in the stomach.
I never seen Walter get manhandled that way.
Yeah, it was something to watch Coffey toss him around and really beat on him. Walter had some great stuff in this match, but there were times in that match where he looked like he had that look on his face like, holy crap, I might lose to this guy. Coffey came out looking like $1 million, even though he didn't win, especially to the point where there was a point where he could have won the match, but the referee got knocked out. And then Alexander Wolf comes in, gets involved, tries to take him out. Then you brought up the thing about Tyler Bate. This made me, a little incident happened here that made me wonder ahead of time. And that was when Dragunov was trying to clear Alexander Wolf out of the ring. He hits Wolf. Wolf goes back and hits Coffey in the leg. And it ended up being that knee, that hit that Coffey took was really what hampered him and had him lose the match. Part of me wondered if that would have us seeing Joe Coffey going after Dragunov down the road, thinking, this guy cost me my match. I could have had him. So that threw in my head. I'm going to say I enjoyed this match so much, dude. I want to put it also in the vote.
All right, so that match, Walter versus Joe Coffey, goes into the vault as well.
Yeah, really good stuff in there. I got a little one over by Gallus for sure this weekend. Mm-hmm. So you know what? We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about our regular wrestling. So folks, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
Hello
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
This is Flip Gordon, and you are listening to Wrestling POV Podcast.
Hey, folks, we're back. Elio.
Yes, sir.
You know, we should tell the people about how we have a sister show called Wrestling POV, which it takes a very humorous and fun look at mostly WWE product.
Yep.
Okay. Now you can find them on a lot of networks. You can find them on Podbean. You can find them on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and
iTunes.
iTunes. How can I forget iTunes? I love iTunes. Yeah, these guys. They're a fun and humorous look at the WWE. They've got their opinions. They've got some really, we talk about POV. You've got the POV of a wrestler, a former wrestler, a super fan, a female, and I'm not sure what dimension it works in, but a sock puppet, a puppet. So you got some crazy ass, some POVs. And speaking of POVs, buddy, they're going to be starting on our site a correspondent.
Yes.
And he'll be covering AEW with a written piece, and that'll be another POV about AEW, which we get to have even more looks at. And you want to tell us a bit about our oncoming guy?
So the new correspondent is Antoine Hoffman. He's over now Washington D.C. He will be our AEW correspondent.
That's awesome. You know, like we've seen Antoine comment on polls. He's had interactions with us. He has had much more interactions with the other show. But here's another look that you're going to get of people looking at AEW, and maybe he'll find some nuggets that we miss or talk about things that we haven't seen. And speaking about POV, Elio, I believe next. Not this weekend, but coming up next soon is the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Which means it's time again for the Wrestling POV
pay-per-view points game. Yep.
Points game. And now we talked about last week how that they're doing this, that every time you enter, you win a certain point to the overall aggregate where you can at the end win this beautiful Wrestling POV belt that they're having custom made. But Elio, I know you're a really big fan of the POV points game. Tell me a bit. Tell the fans about it.
Okay, so basically, go to Wrestling POV podcast on our Facebook page. Share that. First of all, like that page. Share it out, and then they will post a list of the matches, and you bet between 5 and 10 points, depending on the number of points available, as well as side bet on how the match will end, whether it's the disqualification, pinfall, or submission. If there is no winner, you can't bet on that certain match.
Wow.
Now, if you get it right, you get that certain amount of points that you bet. However, you can win big but also lose big, because if you get it wrong, the number of points you bet gets subtracted, and you can be down the minus, and you can end up becoming the Rick Serrano the Turd Award.
Yikes! Who wants to be a turd?
I think I did a better job than last week.
I think so. I didn't have to say anything. Now, folks, this is your chance to enter. The key here is like the page.
Yep.
It's the only way you can actually participate. And like we said, there's been lots of prizes, giveaways that have happened over these games. It's your chance to be the fantasy booker to try and guess how you think the WWE is going to book these things. And like we said, it's a cumulative thing here. Each time you enter, and that's why you want to play as many times as you can, because then you can have points going on to the overall yearly game. And the winner of that will, in fact, receive a wrestling belt, a leather and gold wrestling belt, custom made by Wrestling POV. And that's kind of a cool award. So we look forward to seeing who's going to win that. Might be Elio, might be me, might be that cheating sock puppet. Who knows? But we're going to see who will be crowned the first Wrestling POV champion overall for these games. Okay, let's take a look now at our weekly shows. Okay. Now, first of all, we usually start off with WWE NXT UK. Now, because of the takeover, they didn't actually play an actual usual show like they do.
Right.
However, they set this enormously fun, really interesting Target special.
And you told me to watch this. It was very good.
It was very good. It really. Anybody who didn't see this and has seen the UK thing, go back and watch it. Hopefully you saw it first, because this really primed you for the takeover special. It really gave you a really good look into the competitors, to why they were doing what they were doing, what their motivations were. I've always been on the fence with Joe Coffey. Watching this special made me really understand him more as a person and sympathize and want to cheer him on even. It was such a well done thing, and I would like to see this done with more specials.
Look what NXT UK is doing done to us. People that we hate, that we couldn't stand last year, we like this year.
Oh my goodness, we've been talking about that. I mean, folks, me and Elio could never stand Joe Coffey, Gallus, Dave Mastiff, The Hunt, Jordan Devlin. And I hate to say it, but what if the grizzled young veterans start becoming like this too? They're making us like the people we used to not stand. So good on NXT UK.
But it's fun. I like this.
Well, it's because they're making us win their respect through really good storytelling and good wrestling. And how can we deny that?
Well, hold on. We forgot to mention Jordan Devlin in that group as well.
I did say Jordan Devlin.
Oh, okay.
I did. If they somehow, oh my God, Elio, if they make us like Jenny or Nina Samuels, I don't know. I think it might be time for us to retire. I don't know. You would have to be the best goddamn storyteller in the world if you can make us care about those two idiots. I'm having a slight conniption and a heart attack thinking about that. Oh my God. I never thought I'd like Primate, but okay, no.
TJ thinking about Chinny. Well, he did tell me that was having fantasies about Nina Samuels last week, so I guess this week's your turn.
At least I'm going to say this. Nina Samuels is much more attractive than Ginny. Okay. All right. Let's move on. MLW. This week's Fusion. Oh, boy.
What you would say about this week's show?
What can we say? Man. There was not a lot of great stuff.
Well, there wasn't. That Conan promo, the Brian Pillman and Timothy Thatcher match was my highlights.
Your highlight was
the Conan promo only because I just wanted to see what happens with this whole Chino Medina character.
I don't care, but to see Conan get kicked around was pretty fun. He is so annoying. I love it when Conan gets a beating.
No, actually, my highlight of that segment was Selena De La Renta. She looked good.
She looked very good. She's highlighted a lot of people's lives. Yeah. Oh man, wrestling highlight. Well, the Brian Pillman Jr. Timothy Thatcher match wasn't anything on the caliber of a Timothy Thatcher matches that I like, but it wasn't horrendous.
But on this show, between that match and the Von Erichs versus the Spirit Squad.
The Von Erichs versus the Spirit.
Now, I'm going to paint the scenario.
Okay.
Now, you're terrible, Tom. You're this MMA tough guy. You're
embroiled I'm filthy, Tom.
Filthy Tom. You're embroiled in a feud with the Von Erichs.
Right.
You can pick any two people in wrestling or MMA to help you. Why would you go and pick the Spirit Squad?
Because now they are the Filthy Squad. Remember, now they don't wear green; they wear black, and they are now the Filthy Squad. Oh God, I know what you mean, Elio. Jeez, terrible, terrible. Yeah, I didn't get that either. There's a lot of things I don't like in MLW. Okay, I'm finding I don't really care about the
I don't
modern.
like is this Rip Von Erich. I don't
Well,
care.
Yeah, Rip Von Erich, I don't care about. I don't care about the Spirit Squad, aka Filthy Squad.
Yeah.
I don't care about Injustice.
No.
I'm starting not to care about Holiday and his gang. What are those guys? MJF's group, the Dynasty. Ugh. So in the end, a half-ass show sets up for a better show next week. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see Davey Boy Smith Jr. taking on Brian Pillman for the Opera Cup.
Yep.
I don't give Brian Pillman Jr. a lot of chance here, but what if he turns heel? What if he screws Davey Boy out of his grandfather's cup? That's always a possibility. So overall, there was a lot of bad on the show.
Well, Brian Pillman was the loose cannon, right? So
True. And his son is definitely using more hair dye than is probably good for the brain. So I think I'm going to give this a C this week. It was kind of crappy.
Someone's gonna have to go. I'm gonna go with a C. I was gonna give it a C minus, but it wasn't the greatest. But I'm gonna go with a C.
Let's say Selena brought it up from a minus to a C.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, AEW.
Oh boy.
Some days I gotta admit, sometimes going into AEW is feeling like a chore, like we're being sent to the Woodhouse to get a ass whooping. Yeah. Surprisingly, this week there was some bad stuff, but this wasn't a horrendous week. There was some good stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The opening 4-way match, the 4 teams, lots of cool wrestling in it.
Oh, geez, Ortiz was selling.
Yeah, let's talk about Ortiz. He is selling like Kenny Omega. He makes Kenny Omega seem like a star. You know, like Kenny Omega is usually accused of overacting and stuff.
Yeah.
Ortiz, man, is like a freaking circus clown.
Chuck Taylor threw him out of the ring, lands on his feet, and then falls on his face.
Yes, he landed on his feet and then fell on his face. Oh my lord! When I saw that, I was like, "Oh man, Elio."
The first time I noticed it was when I forget who it was, but knocked him to the mat. He was like bouncing around on the mat.
Yeah, Ortiz is really gone into the level of ridiculousness for his selling. Okay, when you can make Kenny Omega seem like he's pretty bland, wow. I mean, it's funny, but the Chuck Taylor doesn't, and Trent Beretta, I don't see that they don't. I don't get them really. The Best Friends really aren't that good of a tag team.
No.
Orange Cassidy is the only over part of them. And
people love this guy. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And we talked earlier about this, that maybe me and you are just too old. Like maybe we're missing something here. You know, maybe Orange Cassidy's going to turn and look at us and scream and say, "Okay, boomer." I don't know, but I don't get it. I really do not get this guy at all. I don't know why the crowd goes insane for him. They do. He does nothing. He keeps his hands in his pockets. I don't get it. Okay.
The wrestler who doesn't like to wrestle.
Yeah. Jeez. This was a weird one because you had these teams they definitely don't deserve to run in there. The Best Friends aren't that great of a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
LAX, or what are they called now? The Strong and Proud or whatever.
Proud and Powerful.
Proud and Powerful. They, with Ortiz selling like that, they seem like laughable.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, the Young Bucks didn't seem very effective this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the team of Adam Page and Kenny Omega, who seem like they're one step away from slapping each other.
But I like Adam Page.
I like Adam Page. I actually hope he kind of turns on the Elite because he is definitely low man on the Elite totem pole. He needs to get out of their shadow. So yeah, it was an okay match. There was some things though. You're right. There were some things that made me just go, not sure what to think of that. Next, God, I'm starting to hate this, but when Brandy Rhodes comes out, I'm thinking, oh man, just pull out a wheelbarrow full of shit and start spreading it because this is terrible. She's managed to really derail Chris Statlander, who was like,
I don't know why they're doing this to Chris Statlander. I mean, okay, she wasn't that great in this match, but look who she had to work with.
yeah, there was some. I'm not even gonna point them out, but there were a couple times in this match where they were cringe-worthy misses and things, phantom kicks and things that were just terrible. But you're right. Who did Statlander have to work with? I mean, her tag team partner, I got to say the Japanese girl's good. Okay. But Melanie Cruz looks terrible in there. And Brandy Rhodes is atrocious. She didn't have any stake in who her husband was or in this company. No one in the world would sign. She's beautiful. But no one would sign her as a wrestler. She is terrible. Terrible. She's anytime now. And here's the thing. I'm really mad at AEW about this. Is Chris Statlander, they had like an organic hero rising up where people were just digging her each week for the cool stuff she did.
Yep.
She doesn't need to be in a team. She's not a team person. Her character isn't a team person.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be in part of this with the Brandy Rhodes story. They should have at least gave her the championship and then let her fight, and it would have made more sense. Now it just derails her, you know? And once again, we have, Riho's starting to become like the Brock Lesnar of AEW, you know? She shows up once every now and then, and who knows, you know?
I'm waiting for someone to take that belt off her.
Yeah, definitely. So it's sad, but they're only killing Chris Statlander here. This is the second week in a row that they've made her look terrible because of them, not her. And I hope that doesn't happen because that's how fans will stop losing interest in her.
She actually did an interview recently, and she talked about her decision to sign with AEW over WWE. I didn't watch the whole thing, but she did an interview with that one from the MLW, Alicia Atout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. I like Sammy Guevara. He's very talented.
Oh no!
He's very talented.
What's going on?
But Jon Moxley is a big dude. I mean, he looked like a little boy trying to fight Moxley. Moxley, you never realize how because Moxley comes over from the WWE where he was the smallest guy in the Shield.
Right.
Well, no, I guess maybe Rollins was pretty small, but being overshadowed by like such the big guys they fought. And then you see him now, and he's like bigger than everybody on the thing. It's like, sort of makes you wonder how small is everybody else in AEW when Jon Moxley is like the giant. I like his wrestling. I like his style. Guevara pulled off some pretty cool moves. Also, props to Guevara for doing the little gimmick where he writes things on like notes on the thing, so when they're in the picture-in-picture, he can still be like blathering at you if you just look at the screen. So props for that. That's the second week in a row he's done that. He pulled off some good stuff, but I mean, did anyone in the world really think Jon Moxley was going to lose to him? No, we didn't. A little surprised about the beatdown afterwards because it didn't really do anything. You know, it didn't set up some people to help Moxley. It didn't set up anything. It just sort of allowed they beat him up.
You see that jacket, the Legion of Doom jacket that Chris Jericho was wearing?
Now, you know what? I'm going to actually admit that I didn't really notice.
I call that the Legion of Doom jacket because it had spikes coming out.
Oh, Elio. Okay, as I was watching that show, that beatdown, my son my 4-year-old son had just got out of the bath. He came downstairs to say hello to me. He looked at the TV and said, "Why is that guy spiky?" Now I remember this. Oh, then he also asked why Sammy Guevara was in his underwear. Because he was the only one wearing wrestling tights, right? Because Moxley's like in pants and stuff. He asked me why he was wearing underwear, but he asked me why the one guy was wearing spikes everywhere. Why he's so spiky.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I didn't really get the segment. Maybe I'm missing something there.
I don't know. Put that? No, you know what? Let's give it a week. If we see that stupid jacket next week, when it's going in the book.
Okay, that seems fair. Speaking about things that should go, like whole ideas that go in the book, 62-year-old Diamond Dallas Page wrestling. This was not good. MJF and Butcher and the Blade. taking on Dustin, QT Marshall, and Diamond Dallas Page. And
I definitely have someone to put in the book here.
okay, I'm interested. Who really?
Jim Ross.
Oh God, you've hit the nail on the head, buddy.
Because if you know, I heard wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I heard him a few times. MJF was out there. One time he called him Matthew Jacob Friedman. Another time he called him Michael Jacob Friedman.
I agree with you putting him in the thing because there's just the stuff I'm seeing from Jim Ross lately is just terrible.
He is ridiculous with some of the stuff he says.
Okay, you know what? Let me forward a bit when they did a part where they were trying to sell tickets for the next show.
Okay.
And then Jim Ross, I can't believe he would say this, but he says, folks, tickets are on sale for the next show. You can't see the show unless you buy a ticket. or I guess you watch it free on TV.
That doesn't make sense.
Then why would you buy a ticket if you can watch it for free on TV? Shut up, boss. You're not going to sell tickets by making them remember they can just watch it on TV. Maybe tell them it's a cool time to be on a television show. Maybe that's a better tact.
Jim Ross.
Slowly, the great book opens.
Jim Ross, you just made the book.
Man. I always feel bad, too, because legendary dude, but man, not holding it together well, Jay.
No, his good days are fading. That's it. They've already faded because I just can't take some of his stuff anymore. Like when he does stuff he says.
Yeah. Now getting back to the match we were talking about, this 6-man match was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God they didn't have Butcher and the Blade lose for like the 10th time in a row. I mean, they're a good team, and they're just burying them by having everyone beat them. But at least one other complaint of mine is using super cool maneuvers that are supposed to be devastating, and then they don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. We seen in this match Dustin Rhodes pull off a Canadian Destroyer on MJF.
I saw that, yeah.
That's a spinning pile driver, folks. That's supposed to be the move that puts you out. And then 3 minutes later, MJF makes the pin.
Wow.
It's like he sold it for 30 seconds, then rolled away, and then he was miraculously cured. And that looks terrible. That's just some bad storytelling.
And then I saw a comment on Facebook saying, it's cool that they have pile drivers in AEW.
Yeah, because they mean nothing. Because they mean absolutely nothing.
Oh, man.
No? We saw Chris Stratlander use a pile driver variation on Melanie Cruz, and it was the finishing maneuver, like a pile driver should be.
Yep.
When you're using it as it was a spinning pile driver. It was a Canadian Destroyer.
Oh, Paul Orndorff, for crying out loud. That was his finisher. Once he hits you with the pile driver, that's it.
Now, dropping someone on their head apparently only hurts for 30 seconds. And if you can just survive that 30 seconds, you can get up and wrestle again. Not cool. Not cool. Did not think it was cool. Sorry. Yeah. What a mess. Diamond Dallas Page. Sorry, dude. I want you backstage helping these guys. I don't want to see you wrestling anymore.
No.
It's not believable.
No,
it doesn't
that was
look
bad.
good. It's terrible. It's terrible stuff. Let's move on to the main event. Okay. And the main event was actually I really enjoyed Darby Allin. I really enjoy what he does.
That coffin drop. I'm so scared every time he does that.
Well, I gotta wonder, not only is it a scary maneuver, but what kind of damage is that doing to that kid's back? I mean, how many years is he going to be able to do this kind of thing where it's going to, it can't be that healthy. It looks cool, but he's got to be screwing himself up.
These guys must be going to chiropractor or something a lot.
Now,
for the amount of damage they do to their bodies with moves like that.
Yeah. Now, I really enjoyed Darby Allin. I didn't think he was going to win this match. Mm-hmm. It was good to see him really open up. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed that. Logistically, I have to pull apart AEW's storylines of the fact that they tell you that wins and losses mean something, right? So how is Darby Allin fighting fighting Pac? How is he fighting Pac for the #1 contendership when he lost to Cody last week? How would he even be in that position? If
Yeah, okay.
wins and
Yeah.
losses mean something, how did he earn his way in there? Shouldn't have been Cody.
Cody's number one, right?
Well, Cody, yeah. Like, no, Cody's not number one.
No, who's number one?
John Moxley is. And John Moxley has to defend that number one contention against now Pac next week on the Jericho Cruise.
That's so backwards because Moxley's already number one contender. Moxley should have been facing Pac tonight.
Yeah. Or, well, here's how they're doing it. They were doing it like Moxley was the number one contender.
Right.
And the number, like,
no, but I'm
Darby
just saying, like, where does Darby
Allin
Allin fit in?
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He doesn't, actually. So that's what made no sense in his match. Like, if he had won, he would have taken on the number one contender, John Moxley, for a shot. The winner of that match was going to go on to fight John. Yeah, it's very convoluted and ridiculous.
Jeez.
And we didn't even talk. You know what? Cody Rhodes does give the best promos.
Mm-hmm.
Very solid stuff. But when's he going to wrestle? I think I'd rather see him wrestle sometime than blabbing about Cody, writing about MJF.
Interesting stipulations, too.
Or is it Michael J. Friedman? Anyway, sorry.
Maxwell J. Friedman.
Is it Michael? Matthew?
Muhammad? Who knows?
Mahabali? Is he Mahabali Friedman? Anyway. Ask JR. He doesn't know.
Interesting stipulations for their match.
Yeah, and that's one thing, too. So, okay, he has to fight the dude in a cage.
Wardlow, yeah.
He has to not touch MJF till the thing, but he has to take 10 lashes before he gets to fight him. Is that
weird.
Right?
That's weird. I think I read that. I didn't think I understood that right. Yeah.
I don't understand that either.
Yes, take 10 lashes on TV. I understand that.
Why? Like that part I don't know, man.
What is going on?
If MLW hadn't had such a crappy week, and if NXT had just posted a show, I'm afraid that AEW is going to have a B- here and still win the week.
Oh, man.
Wow. I give it a B-, man. And I think I
have to go with a B-, but AEW wins this week, but
yeah, it's like being.
And when you say at the beginning of the show, TNT signed them for another year. Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
They really better start sorting some stuff out.
Okay, so that puts AEW at, I believe, 2, is it? And MLW at 1?
I think, Elio, since NXT didn't have a match this week,
right?
I think we should only award 1 point to the winner, 0 points to everyone else.
Okay, so AEW gets the 1 and MLW to 0?
Yeah, and obviously NXT didn't get a point because they didn't put a show in.
Oh, okay, so there we go. So far NXT UK is still winning.
Interesting stuff. Okay, well, you know what, folks? Wow. I have a feeling that NXT had better really screw up badly if we're going to not beat this week's show, okay? Wow. I don't know what to say, man. Just tough stuff. It's times like this that next week, I'm not sure how I'm going to come in when next Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'm going to be like, oh, man, we got to watch AEW this week. Because this was a bit of a poor effort.
Yeah.
Too many holes, too many things.
I mean, oh my God,
it's 2 hours long.
We didn't even bring up that thing. We didn't even bother talking about that Dark Order crap.
No, what's the point?
Yeah,
I mean, the Dark Order junk is so bad.
It started out like somewhat cool, but nah.
Well, no. Let's face it. It started off like absolute dog shit. Then they did a couple promos that were kind of cool, and then they just blew it.
I just kind of like that one. I just kind of like that one in the hotel room where the guy was talking to him through the TV. That was pretty interesting. Yeah.
But then the next week they totally blew it with the whole run out, jump everybody with the Dark Order crap. And then I think it felt like that AEW realized how stupid it was, because then did you notice the next week they had the Young Bucks like kicking the crap out of the Dark Order?
Yeah. Yep.
And then this week we just had hints of them. Now they're okay. And here's the last question I'm going to leave you for AEW today, okay?
Okay.
The Dark Order wants to be something important, right? So they're targeting, and are you ready for this now? Adam Page, that makes sense. There's somebody that would be cool. Michael Nakazawa.
would see that he wanted to
John
fight
Cutler? Or Brandon Cutler?
But see, Adam Page wanted to fight SCU.
Yeah, the whole him drunk again thing, is that an ongoing thing where he's kind of drunk and it has to do with alcohol and it starts a fight? Because that's what happened last week. Remember, he had the drink and that he wasn't going to pay the $12 to a private party.
Yeah. So let's see, Adam Page, Brandon Cutler, Kenny Omega, Michael Nakazawa.
Well, why on earth would they want Michael Nakazawa or Brandon Cutler? I mean, those two guys.
Michael Nakazawa is Omega's friend.
Yeah, but still, why bother?
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, you know what? We've had some misadventure this week. We started off with great talking about TakeOver, and it just went to shit after that. MLW was terrible. AEW was a half a step up from crap. Thank God we did. You know what? I'm glad. No, I'm not sure. Maybe it would have been nice if we had some New Japan to like clear the palates and have some good matches. But
unfortunately, they didn't really have a major event this weekend. There was one of their throwaway ones.
Yeah, the Fantastic Mania. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
And there's nobody even in the top of, there's nobody that's even in the top 10 of their wrestlers who competes in that. So it's basically a showcase to show CMLL wrestlers and junior heavyweights and young lions. So it's something I've never covered over the years because there's nothing really of interest that comes out of it. So folks, you know what? Me and Elio, as always, we've had a very good time. I mean, as crazy it can get, at least we can laugh about it and point out.
It's always fun.
It's always fun. And you know what? If you'd like to write to us, to comment, to throw your 2 cents in, there's lots of places. We have accounts in. You can get a hold of us on Wrestling POV podcast page on Facebook.
Yep, Wrestling POV podcast. Yep.
Twitter, the good old Twitter machine is
at Wrestling POV
1. No, what's the POV 1 is Instagram, right?
Wrestling POV 1 is Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. And Instagram, well, it seems like a lot of the kids, I guess, are going to be deluged with frickin' Orange Cassidy flick things because it seems the young kids love the Instagram. One thing you'll never see me, Elio, doing is probably Snapchatting you because I have no idea what the point of that is. And the Twitter, I got to admit, Twitter has become sometimes a can of worms. We learned, I think Tessa Blanchard learned the hard way that maybe.
This is why I don't do Twitter. I think I might know how to tweet. I just don't.
I don't either because, it seems like a more harsher way to get a lot of negativity. Yeah. Facebook's my thing, man. I'm very not good at posting stuff, as some people have pointed out, but you can always get a hold of me, and I can always navigate it. And but folks, we had a really good time. We look forward to next week's episode, to telling you some more. Hopefully, my God, hopefully the ratings will be a little better. Hopefully, we'll have some better matches next week. MLW it's driving me crazy. It's like a freaking roller coaster. Some days it's great.
Up and down.
Up and down, up and down. At least NXT UK is on the upside. And AEW, man, I don't know what to say. You never know what you get, man. It's like Forrest Gump says, AEW is like a box of chocolate. Sometimes you open up and get something good. Sometimes it's just full of nuts. Who knows? Elio, you have yourself a tremendous week, buddy. We want to throw out a special thank you to all our friends across the world. Usually at this time, I name a whole bunch of countries and stuff, but you guys know who you are. You guys have been listening. We love it. Yep. We love wherever you are in this world. We think it's great. You want to throw us your nationalism and show us your pride. Tell us what countries are out there listening to us. Send us a letter saying, greetings from wherever. Me and Elio, we have an affinity for all the places across Europe, North America, Africa, South America. Then if you're a penguin sitting in Antarctica and you're listening to us and you think squawk, 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 these guys squawk too much. Well, hey, send us a tweet. I know you guys have tweeting down there, right? Come on, man. Facebook us. We're in there. So On behalf of my good friend, the gentleman, Elio Canella, we want to wish you guys a great night, and thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, the legend, T. James Logan. I'm going to toss you over to the gentleman. He's going to say goodbye to you.
All right, fans, we will talk to you all next week.